Yep. Okay. Go!
Will you hand me my screen box?
Now go.
Court does call the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Joseph Heed. Counsel, state your appearances, please.
Alex Jablowski for the people. Thomas Heed for the defendant.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
Michael Joseph Heed.
Thank you. All right. Taking time set for trial. Are we ready to proceed?
Yes.
All right. You may proceed.
There's people are willing to waive opening if counsel wants to, or I can we'll waive.
All right. Okay. So you have no objection to their waiver?
No.
And you're also waiving? Okay. All right. May I call you first witness?
Hi. We call Erica Hogue.
Ma'am, please come forward and be sworn.
See, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear in front of the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? See. Record, please.
Erica Hogan. Erica is Urika, last name Hogan Hogan.
May I inquire?
Thank you. Erica, where do you live?
At 480 West Clark.
Okay. And is now back on June 14th, 2025. Do you remember that day?
Yeah.
And on that day, did you live at 4800 Clark Road, apartment 313?
Yeah.
Or excuse me, 30. Yeah, 313.
Yes, it's apartment 313.
Okay. Thank you. Now, at about 9 p.m., did something happen that caused the police to get called?
Yes.
Okay. Take us through what you were doing prior to the police getting called.
Prior to the police conversation, I was moving in.
Okay. And when you say you're moving in, was this a new apartment to you?
Yes.
Okay. So what were you all doing? What were you all moving in?
Clothes, boxes.
Okay. And about how long was that taking you that day? Now, was your apartment is that in Ann Arbor, Michigan?
Yes,
And is that in Washtenaw County, Michigan?
yes.
All right.
Oh, it's not in Ann Arbor.
I'm sorry.
I want to make sure.
Pittsfield Township, correct?
Yeah, it's more than my house, it's Ann Arbor.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we don't have much of Park Road, but I'm sure we probably are. But
It's-
recognize that it's in Washtenaw County in the 14A district. So.
Thank you. Now, so you'd been moving in, and around 9 p.m. or so, did something happen to interrupt your moving in?
Yes.
What happened?
There was an altercation.
What do you mean an altercation?
I was walking down the third floor hallway to my unit to take things in. I was approached by someone, and basically what happened was I guess he's upset about the noise that was going on with us moving in. And he made some pretty obscene statements to me, my mother, my daughter, and one of her friends.
Is that person in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point him out and describe what he's wearing? Can you describe what he's wearing, please?
A tan 3/4 zip sweater.
Okay. And do you know who that person is? Do you know their name?
I just want to.
Okay. Ask the record to reflect the identification of the defendant.
That objection record so reflect.
Thank you. Now, you said that there was some words that were stated by him. What did he say to you?
The statement that he made was, you guys are playing around and ass grabbing in the hall.
Okay. And when this happened, whereabouts in the hallway were you?
I was about way to my door. So between the elevator and my apartment unit, I was about halfway there. Yeah.
And now he lives in apartment 306?
Correct.
And is that also between the elevator and your apartment?
That apartment is actually right almost kind of like directly across from the elevator.
Okay. But would you have had to go past 306 to get to your apartment?
Yes, like I would have, as I'm stepping off the elevator, you know, you're right there.
Okay. When he approached you and said that you guys were ass grabbing in the hallway, where in line was your mother and your daughter and her boyfriend?
As we were walking down the hallway, I was in the front. I want to say my mother was behind me, then it was my daughter and her friend.
Okay. Now, when you are going down the hallway, who did he confront first?
It was kind of like he generalized the statement to all of us. You know, and it kind of didn't get directed towards me until we got closer to the door.
Okay. Did he get in front of you as you were walking down the hallway, or how did that, what happened?
He ended up kind of like on the side of me as we were going down the hallway.
Do you know if he followed everyone and caught up to you, who was first in line?
That's what happened.
Okay. Okay. Now, when he got up, even with you, did he say anything else?
He was pretty much just making statements about how loud we were being. We should have picked a better time to move in. And it just that kind of was the gist of what he was saying.
Okay. Why did you move in at that time?
That was the time I was able to.
Okay. Was that based on your schedule?
Correct.
And your help's schedule?
Exactly.
Also, your work schedule?
Yes.
All right. Now, were these relatively new apartments at that time?
This is a new apartment complex. Yes.
Okay. And the apartment complex had been there about a month in total, give or take?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, as you did you approach your apartment door?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what happens at that point?
As we approached the apartment door, I kind of, just thought he was going to go away. So when we went into the unit, he stopped the door with his foot and proceeded to like shove past me, push past me to gain entry into the apartment at that point.
Who opened the apartment door initially? And did you go into the apartment first, or did you let other people go in?
I went in, but the way that the doors are set up, they're slow closing doors. So you don't close the door behind you, it kind of closes on its own. So as I walked in, everybody else kind of walked in behind me. And before the door closed, that's when he, kind of like stopped the door. And when he stopped the door with his foot, that's when I turned around and I was at the door. And he pushed past me to try to come in.
Okay. Now, when you say he stopped the door with his foot, did you see where his foot was?
Yeah, it was. So when the door is closing, it's kind of like the silver, threshold of the door area. He put his foot right there to stop the door from closing.
And was it towards the side of the door where the handle is, or the side of the door where the hinges are?
Where the handle is.
All right. And then you said that, so where were you at that point when he put his foot to stop the door being closed?
I was right in front of the door.
Okay. When you say in front of the door, on the outside of your apartment or the inside of your apartment? Okay. And when you say, now describe what you mean by he pushed past you.
So when he put his foot in the door, I still tried to close the door. And he had his forearm out like this, and he did like this and kind of like stepped into the.
Okay, now you just made a motion with your forearm.
Yeah.
You have to kind of describe for that because we're recording things and so can you describe the arm motion that you were just making or the position you put your arm in?
Yeah, so he extended his forearm out towards me, and when it kind of pushed into my chest, that's when he stepped into the apartment.
Okay. Now, so he had put his foot in a place that would prevent the door from closing completely.
Correct.
Did you open the door back up or did he push the door open?
No, that's the thing. Before the door could completely close, he stopped it with his foot.
Okay.
And when he stepped into the apartment, that's when he like pushed me with his forearm.
Okay. And did you see what was pushing the door? Or was anything pushing the door? Better question.
No, I mean, his foot had the door open, and
Okay.
once he like stopped the door with his foot, he could essentially put his arm in the door.
Okay. Inside your apartment?
Correct.
All right. Now, using your, and then, could you see if he held the door open with his arm? Did he use his arm on the door at all?
I don't know where his right arm was. I just could see the left arm that he used and the foot that he used to stop the door.
I see. Now, did his left arm make it inside of the threshold of your apartment?
Yes.
How much, or using using your hands, and then we'll kind of approximate that. How much was your door still open when he stopped it?
When he caught it with his foot, if I had to gauge about how much the door was still open when he caught it with his foot, it was probably about like this much space before the door closed.
Okay. And that's, are you any good with the measurement?
12 to 15 inches, I said.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. And did the door open more in this incident?
It prevented the door from closing.
Sure.
So, I don't want to make the assumption, but the only thing I can assume is that his right hand had to have been on the door.
Fair enough. And we don't want you to guess. Okay. But when he used his left hand, did he have to reach around the door to get to you?
No, like it's kind of almost when he put his arm out and pushed me through the door, the door opened more at that point.
Okay.
So
and
it just stayed at that same angle the whole time.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're gesturing in a way where his left arm is pushing on you.
Correct.
Okay, and that's about shoulder height or so on you?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, let me back up. Did you invite him in your apartment?
I did not.
Did you say, hey, come on in, we'll talk about this?
No.
Before he stopped the door closing, had he said anything else to you about the noise?
He was just still talking, repeating the same thing, like, you guys are playing around in the hallway, the ass grabbing, and, you should have picked a better time to move in, and all these kind of statements. And it was more so me walking away, going into the unit, like trying to ignore the conversation.
Once the door is held open, does the defendant say anything to you?
The same thing. He was just saying the same thing, and it kind of turned into at that point of, can you, get away from my door?
Okay. Now, did you tell him that?
Yes.
All right. Once he holds the door open, what did you tell him?
Can you get away from my door?
Okay. Sorry.
Can you just leave?
Did he respond to that?
He continued to talk and stand there.
Did you do anything else?
I did not.
Did you ever try to push the door closed?
My daughter.
And did you see
How old
that?
is your daughter?
17.
17.
Yes.
Thank you.
What did it take to get the door closed? Or actually, let me back up. Were you eventually able to close the door?
Yeah, my daughter actually closed it.
Okay. And other than saying, I think you said that please back up or something. Did you tell the defendant anything else?
I told her that I was going to call the police.
Did he say anything to you at that point?
Just still repeating the same thing. I guess he was upset about the noise.
Okay. How far into your apartment did he get when he tried to push his way in?
About like the whole left side of his body.
But was the right side of his body still, if we use sort of the threshold of your door as an imaginary force field, half of his body's inside, half of his body's outside?
Correct, yeah, because he came in at an angle because of how the door still kind of was at that point. And when he made the motion to push past me, he kind of stepped with his left side, so.
So it's not like the door ever swung all the way open.
No,
And you didn't pull the door open as he was standing there preventing it from closing.
can you repeat that?
You didn't open the door as he was standing there preventing it from closing.
No,
Did you want to continue the conversation with him?
no,
Why is that?
because I don't know him and I didn't know what he was gonna try to do. And at that point, like I said, my daughter was home, her friend was there and my mom. So I was trying to avoid the confrontation.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Before you begin, Cross, what time was this happening, ma'am? You said 9 PM was when you're moving in, but when this happened,
I can't remember the exact time I called the police department. But I called them right after the incident took place.
okay, all right. And just also for clarification, you said your mother, your daughter, and who else was with you?
My daughter's friend,
Male or female?
male.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Hogan. Where do you work?
At Washington Community College,
Okay. How long have you been there?
a little over a year.
At any point, were you trying to get hired by the community corrections for the jail here?
Yes.
What is the relevance?
They had quite a extended talk while she was talking to the police about her plans to become a police officer. And she stated that they had encouraged her where she already was to become a police officer. And one of the police officers responding said, "We're hiring." And it goes to show bias of both the witness.
Understood. You can go ahead with the question. I'll overrule the objection.
So did you at any time indicate that you had applied to be a corrections officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I want to go back. The incident you're talking about here happened on June 14th, correct?
Yes,
You live in one unit and your mother lives in another unit on the same floor. Is that correct?
yes.
When did your mother move in?
Objection relevance.
Overruled. All alone.
A few weeks to a month before.
And do you recall who was helping you move in that time
Moving for.
to your mother's? Who was home?
It was me, my mother, my daughter, and her friend.
Okay. And did you encounter the defendant that evening around 11 PM when he came out to the parking lot to discuss you're still moving in?
Yes,
Okay.
So just so that I'm clear, we're talking not about the June 14th, but prior to when your mom was moving in?
correct.
Okay, go ahead.
And at the time, did you claim that you needed to finish in order to return that truck the night of your mother moving in?
Did I make that claim to you?
To Mr. Heed, the defendant, not to
Yes.
confuse you. Okay. I'll refer to my brother as the defendant just to make sure that we don't have any confusion here. Did you know your move-in date when you were moving your mother in?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Between the time you moved your mother in and the time you moved in, did you discuss the time of day that you would be moving in? Do you recall the events of June 14th relatively clearly?
Yes,
Okay. You had stated that the defendant said ass grabbing. Are you sure he didn't say grab assing?
from what I recall, he said ass grabbing.
And on the 14th, did you remove the goods in that truck from another location? In other words, you were moving from someplace to 4840. Did you both load and unload that truck on the same day?
Yes,
Okay. What time did you start?
I don't recall the precise time I started to move the truck.
Okay. And when you had talked to the police that evening, you had stated that that was your last load.
Correct.
Is that correct? So do you recall who was carrying goods from the truck up to your apartment in the last load?
The very last load, I don't know who all had something in their hands, so I don't know.
Okay. And you had testified, I believe, that you never opened your door fully, correct?
Correct.
How did you and the other people with you get the goods that you were carrying into your apartment if you never opened the door fully?
We came through the door, we didn't have to push the door all the way open to its maximum ability for everybody to enter the unit.
So what was being carried?
Again, I don't recall, but all of the big things were already in the apartment at that time. We were bringing in the last of the stuff off the truck.
How do you open the door to that apartment? Is it a key or a card?
It's a fob.
Okay. And who had the fob?
Me.
And the door was locked when you got there?
When I got there, I don't remember if I had to swipe the fob to get in or if it was already open due to the fact that we were coming back and forth with the truck. I don't recall on that particular trip if we had locked the door before we went back downstairs.
And you had mentioned that you have a soft close door. At the end of the soft close, does it soft close right to the end, or the last several inches does it slam?
It slams at the end.
Wouldn't that hurt somebody's foot if that door slammed right at the end, if they stuck it in?
Not necessarily.
When you were moving in on 614, you were aware that the building that you were in wanted everybody to be relatively quiet. And in fact, you signed a form that said quiet enjoyment, didn't you?
I didn't sign that.
I'm going to object. There was a cop-out question.
Fair enough. I can separate the question out.
Go ahead.
So did you, prior to moving in, sign a form concerning quiet enjoyment of your unit?
Yes, I did.
And so when you moved in, you were aware that that community observed quiet enjoyment.
I was aware that they observed quiet enjoyment as a resident of the property that did not pertain to me.
Does it say anywhere on that form that it doesn't pertain to moving in?
It is not.
So where did you learn that it doesn't pertain to moving in?
You can't move into a property quietly. There's going to be noise when you do that.
What noise in particular did the defendant complain about?
That he heard us in the hallway.
Were you laughing and carrying on?
We were talking.
Were you laughing and carrying on in the hallway?
We were talking.
Did you say to the police, or your mother say to the police in your presence, that you guys...
To the hearsay.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
Strike that. I'm going to ask this a different way. Isn't it true that you told the police nobody could tell you nobody could dictate when you move in.
Yes, I do.
And did you also tell the police that no one can tell you how much noise to make when you're moving in?
I said no one can gauge how loud it's gonna be when you move in. I didn't make that statement, yes.
Nothing further.
Any redirect?
The conversation about trying to get hired by community corrections. Did that happen? When in that evening did that happen?
That happened after the fact, once I kind of called and explained to them what's going on.
So the police had talked to you
Yes,
and they went inside, right?
they went inside to talk to him.
Okay. And they came out and at least had told you that they had talked to him.
Yes.
All right. And then it was sort of in casual conversation afterwards that came up. Okay. Nothing further.
Ma'am, what were if you recall, what were the last things you were carrying into the apartment?
I don't recall.
But it wasn't like, you had said, correct me if I'm wrong, that the large things were already in.
Correct.
So one could assume you weren't like carrying mattresses or couches or anything at that point.
No,
Right. Okay. And you're not sure as to what time this is. Did you receive a complaint or communication from the apartment complex regarding moving in?
no, I didn't.
Any noise or anything? The ass grabbing or grabbing ass, whichever, was that comment directed at you? Well, let me ask it a different way. Did you have an impression as to who that was directed at?
The impression that I had was that he was speaking to all of us.
What did that mean to you? That terminology, that phrase.
That you guys are playing around in the hallway and almost kind of like we were children playing in the hallway, just being loud.
Okay. Any questions based on the court's questions? On either side.
I do have one. Actually, a couple. At the time that this incident happened, did you think you were being too loud?
No, I don't.
Okay. How loud, if you recall, about how loud were you talking?
It was just an average conversation.
Any louder than we've all been talking today?
No, I don't know.
And Bree, sit down. When you were moving the last items in, as you're moving in, I'm presuming, and I may be wrong, all the four of you weren't all coming in at the same time, were you?
No, we weren't. We all got off the elevator and we all were heading to the apartment.
Was that true for the whole move?
No.
Okay, so at certain points, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, at certain points, there might be others, two or one of you that would go down, come up, and then
Correct. We're going back
and forth. So not all four of you were together always.
Right.
Okay. Before this incident you described, though, you're indicating to the court that all four of you were coming in at that point?
Yes, it was the last trip from the truck at that point. We were wrapping up.
Okay, gotcha. This prior occasion that you and the defendant came into contact, I guess when your mother was moving in.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything eventful about that encounter?
It Yes, it was actually, he approached the truck, we didn't, obviously we did not know who he was. He was like, you guys are being very loud. Why would you decide to move in at this time? And at that time I expressed to him, you can't control when people move in. You should be aware that you're moving into a building that's brand new, so people are gonna move in. And there's no time restriction on that.
Okay, and this was 2 or 3 weeks prior to the
Correct.
14th. What time was it that move-in was occurring?
That was later in the day. This was probably, it was dark outside. I can't remember an exact time, but it was later in the day, like late at night.
That day, that previous day, was there only one encounter between you and Mr. Heath?
What do you mean, the day my mother was moving in?
The day your mother was moving in?
There was one encounter with my mother. Yes.
Okay. And it was as you described that he came out to your truck?
Correct.
Okay.
He also made a statement about, us letting the building door slam. He said, you guys are right under, my unit with the door, but if you're moving things in, you can't really control the door. You're not holding the door and holding on to things at the same time.
Well, okay. So then on the 14th, was the same thing happening where the door was slamming?
I'm not gonna say that it didn't slam at all, because again, we did have big things that were moving off that truck, which required us as we were going in to use both of our hands. So if the door were to kind of close hard behind us, we didn't have control of that every time.
But at least on the first occasion, there was complaint about the noise and also the door slamming and his proximity, or at least what he relayed to you, his proximity to where the door is.
Yes, and then he made a statement about us needing to pick a better time of day to move in, as if he had control.
Well, but let me just ask this. You indicated that on the 14th, you moved in at 9 p.m.
It was a little bit before that,
Okay, but it was around 9.
but we were there around that time.
Well, in questioning from the prosecutor, you said you were moving in about 9 p.m.
We didn't start at that time, is what I'm saying. We were already there. So we had been moving in for a minute at that time.
Okay, fair enough. On the weeks prior, you had indicated that it was a later time that you moved in.
Yeah, we
So
got
it
a
was-
later start.
So it was sometime after 9?
No, we were there after 9 o'clock. We got there a bit later that particular day, but which kind of had us stay there longer. So the 14th, when I moved in, I pulled up with the truck maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that, when we initially started. But on the weeks prior, when me and my mother was moving in her stuff with my daughter and her friend, that was a bit later in the day when we initially arrived. So maybe like 7-ish or something. So we were still there.
Okay, so maybe I have a misimpression and I just want to clear it up. Prosecutor indicated, or your response to the prosecutor in regard to a question was that this was occurring at 9.
The incident with the defendant,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. So you had been moving in since on the 14th, I'm talking about, since about 5 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 or 6, something like that.
Okay, so this is 4 hours thereabouts that you're moving things in.
3, 4 hours, and yes.
Okay. you arrive, when you're moving your mother in,
Mhm.
you arrive a little bit later. Does it take that same amount of time?
I can't recall how long it took us that day exactly, but I do know it ran later into the night than when I moved in on the 14th.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. So during the previous incident, at what time did the defendant come down to the truck?
Again, I don't recall the exact time. I just know that it was later in the day. It was already like nighttime. It was dark outside and kind of later in the evening.
When he came down to the truck?
Correct.
So maybe we'll do it this way. When he came down to the truck on that occasion,
Mhm.
were you at the end of the move or?
I can't recall how much stuff was left on the truck. I just know we were still in the process of getting things off.
Let me ask it this way. If you had to, I don't want you necessarily guessing, but if you can approximate, were you halfway through the move? Were you 3/4 of the way? And I'm talking about the previous occasion.
With my mom.
Yeah.
And her things. Say maybe about a quarter of the way. I had to try to wrap it up.
So you were about a quarter of the way done when he came down to the truck.
Correct.
All right. Any questions based upon the court's questions?
No, Your Honor. I have a couple that might help. I hope help. When you moved your mom in and on the 14th, did you think you were making any unreasonable noise moving in?
No.
Was it sort of the standard noise from moving in that you would expect into an apartment complex?
Yes.
All right. Now, were you trying to make a bunch of noise when you moved in?
No.
Were you trying to be aware of the other residents?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You may step down. Thank you. Call your next witness.
People rest. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I do want to call Officer Rakowski.
All right. Sir, please come forward and be sworn.
Will you take a seat, raise your right hand? You solemnly swear and affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thank you.
All right, go have a seat. State spell your first and last name for the record, please.
Colton Rakowski, COLTON, RUT, KOWSKI.
All right, you may inquire.
Thank you. You work for Pittsfield Township Police Department?
Yes, sir.
And were you working on June 14th, 2025?
Yes, sir.
At about 9:08 p.m., did you get dispatched out to 4800 Clark Road?
The call was originally dispatched to Officer Data and Officer Tripp. I jumped the call shortly after that bit system.
Okay. Was that about the time that the call came out, though?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when you arrived, had Ms. Hogan, to your knowledge, completed her move by that point?
To my knowledge at that time, I'm not sure.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further. No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Now that people rest.
Witnesses for the defense.
The defense calls the defendant Michael Heed.
All right. Sir, please come forward and be sworn. Not sure. The other face, just come on up. Sir, before you have a seat, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right. Have a seat. Upon having a seat, please state and spell your name for the record.
It's Michael Joseph.
You may inquire. That's fine. We've got the spell.
Okay. Mr. Heed, how old are you?
So,
Now, before we get too far along on this, I want to ask you, did anything occur a couple days before June 14th that was of note in your life?
Yes, I had, pretty major facial surgery.
Okay. And when you say pretty major facial surgery, what exactly did they do?
They, trim my eyelids and raise my eyebrows. And there's a lot of stuff in the face.
So, who did that surgery?
Dr. Simmons at Kellogg Eye.
Did they provide you with any information about what you could and could not do after the surgery?
Oh,
Just make it quick. No, I think this is going exactly, Your Honor. This shows that he could not have done some of the things that he was accused of that night.
That's the reason that you're offering this testimony.
Yes.
Judge, being told what you can and can't do has no bearing on what you do and do not do.
And certainly you're entitled to make that argument. Objections overruled, you may.
So, stated shortly, what did they tell you?
yeah, with more than 5 pounds and not bend over, sleep on your back so you don't abrade the stitches. Your clothes under you so help with the swelling.
And so where were you sleeping after the surgery?
On my couch, because it has rolled arms, like an extra pillow.
And as part of your preparation for this surgery, did anything in your unit provide you concern?
Yes, there's a pre-operation session and got a less detailed list of restrictions after the surgery. Among them was the 5 pound limit on weight. So I was concerned that the apartment door, since it's heavily damped, would exert more than 5 pound pressure. So I measured it. It was indeed, in excess of 20 pounds.
Okay. And so I want to take you now to the first time you encountered Erica Hogan. Do you recall approximately what time you went out to the parking lot?
I said after 10. She said on the stand 11. I'm willing to accept that. It was dark.
Fully dark. Okay. And what did you say at that time?
I said, so you kind of late, and you kind of noisy.
After talking with them, did you think that they were going to stop immediately or they were going to continue?
I got the feeling that they were going to continue till the job was done.
Did they in fact continue until the job was done that evening? Okay. So I want to turn your attention now to the night of the 14th. Where were you in your apartment when you made the decision to talk to the Hogans?
So I'm between the couch and the recliner. When I've been tired of laying in one position, I would switch to the other place and try that for a while.
And what caused you to get up?
Well, it was 9 o'clock. You showed that, it was starting to, the sky was starting to darken a little bit. My body was telling me that it was in the space where it could get some serious sleep rather than just cat napping. So I was trying to get some serious sleep.
And did you hear anything that made you get up?
I heard the Hogans and company, both downstairs and upstairs. They're both in very close proximity to my apartment.
How far is the elevator from your apartment?
About 15 feet.
And did they arrive up at the elevator before you got up or after you got up?
Oh,
And when you left your unit, What did you do? Did you, well, strike that. Did you have shoes on? Did you put shoes on before you left your unit? When you left your unit, did you see the Hogans?
I did not, I could hear them. Not see them.
When did you first see anybody in the Hogan party?
Well, there's a curve in the hallway at the elevator, so once I got past the elevator, I could see them.
As you approached unit 313, did you catch up with any member of the Hogan moving party before you got to 313? When you got to apartment 313, was the door open? How close were you to the last person going into the apartment?
Maybe 5 seconds behind.
How far is it from that elevator to the Hogan's door, to the door of 313?
50, 60 feet.
When you got to the door of 313, it was open. Who did you see inside?
Yes. You said it was open?
Yes.
Okay.
Who did you see inside the apartment?
So Erica, she was holding the door. Angela was in the laundry room, which is off to the left of the entry, and
Did you see anybody else?
the 2 young people were further in the apartment, in the kitchen with their area.
Could you see them?
I don't believe so, right away.
And what was your purpose in going to apartment 313?
To tell them I was badly in need of sleep and that they were making more noise than I felt was necessary. And, you know, the management wants to emphasize people's right to quiet enjoyment and like a courtesy visit in lieu of complaining to the management about what you're doing.
What happened when you started talking?
Everybody else started yelling.
Did you use the words ass grabbing when you started talking to them?
I believe it was grab ass.
What does grab assing mean?
It's from the Army, like drill sergeant alive. It means horseplay, goofing around. Anything that's not directly pertaining to your assigned task.
And did they have any reaction when you use that word?
Maybe, maybe not. You know, they definitely got agitated and misunderstanding that might have been part of it.
How long did the whole encounter with Erica Hogan last?
I would guess 15 seconds.
Did you ever intentionally enter her unit?
I did not.
Did you ever touch her?
I did not.
Did you ever touch her door?
I did not.
Did you put your foot in the door to stop it from closing?
I did not.
Would you put your bare foot in one of those doors to stop it? Why not?
I mean, it may survive the incident, but may not.
Okay.
Too close to call.
Your Honor, I would like to show the witness and the court the door that is to the witness's apartment to show the closing mechanism.
There we go. All right. You should be good.
All right. So,
There it is.
there we go. All right. So let me back this up to start. So.
Defendant's K is being admitted.
This is a demonstrative video just so that I can answer additional questions. We can't admit Exhibit K also. So if you turn to your book, Exhibit K.
Any objection to the admission of Exhibit K? No. All right, Exhibit K, the video is admitted as well as the picture of the door. Go ahead, Counsel.
So you had earlier indicated that you had concern about your own door and its weight.
He needs to, correct? You need to. I don't know what's, okay, good. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Just to make sure we don't inadvertently project anything else. You had indicated that you had concerns about the weight of your own door. Given your concerns, were you in a mood on June 14th to push past anybody?
No, in fact, it was the impression given to me by the surgeon that my face could, in a sense, fall apart if I overexerted myself.
Okay. You recall approximately how many sentences you tried to say to Erica Hogan?
Top three. Too much noise management concern and in lieu of making a formal complaint.
Okay. And when you say management concern, has management told you as part of the residents at 4840 that everybody needs to be quiet?
Yeah, there were just a couple at that point. That was like 3 weeks after I moved in. Group emails that said, reminding you that there's, wide enjoyment policy.
When you approached Erica Hogan on the night of June 14th, what was your expectation of what was going to occur?
Well, I was hoping just to deliver the message and go back and try to be a little more quiet.
And since you have been at 4840, have other people moved in?
Yes.
Has anybody moved in later than the Hogans moved into Angela Hogan's apartment?
Angela was definitely.
Did anybody else move in as late as Erica Hogan?
No.
Did you complain to anybody else about the noise they were making moving in? In your own assessment, were the Hogans louder than other people when they were moving in?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Cross-examination.
You didn't have any trouble opening your door on the 14th around 9 p.m.?
Um,
Well, let me ask, okay. And you opened it to go talk to Angela? Or excuse me, Erica.
Yeah.
You also opened it when the officers knocked on your door?
am I correct? Yes.
Well, you opened it enough so that your entire body was between the door frame and the door?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you didn't, when the officers asked you for identification, and you went back into your apartment to get it, you didn't ask them to hold the door for you because of your eye surgery, did you?
I did not.
Okay. You told the officer that you'd put your foot inside of Erica's door?
I did.
You didn't say that?
No.
Okay. You told the officer that you didn't get into her apartment more than a foot? Is that correct?
The statement I remember is I may have put a foot in the apartment. And at that point, immediately after the incident, I wasn't sure.
So you didn't say that you didn't get into her apartment more than a foot?
Unqualified, I would not say that, no. Because I had no intention.
Did you tell the officer or not that you did not get into her apartment more than a foot?
Again, my recollection is that I told him that I may have.
Your exact words were that you got your foot, you stepped inside the apartment, but it was inadvertent. Do you recall making that statement? Do you believe the same rules apply to you as they do to Erica Hogan? So she should be able to enjoy the quiet enjoyment of her apartment?
Yes.
And not have people hold her door open? You said you saw people in
Just
the...
so that we're clear, because this apartment complex has the legal definition of what quiet enjoyment really means misconstrued.
I think we could probably stipulate that within the lease, Judge, with court's information, they redefine quiet
I know,
enjoyment.
I understand that, Mr. Tivolowski.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that the record's clear.
Oh, thank you.
That we're not talking about legal quiet enjoyment, that we're talking about what the apartment complex has called quiet enjoyment.
Yes, we will stipulate to the fact that it is not the legal definition, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I actually got out blacks last night to look at, to make sure I was thinking correctly. Thank you, Judge. You told the so we saw the video of the door closing. How is it that Erica's door didn't close behind her like in the video? Well, let me back up and I'll ask a different question. You said that you saw some people inside the apartment. Okay. And you had followed Erica over to her apartment.
Mhm.
And as a yes. And
She was not the last. Her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend were the last two in line, so they were, I guess, essentially the ones that was following.
but you passed them and actually caught up to Erica.
Never passed anyone.
Okay.
We were all in the compartment.
All right. You told the officers that the person you were talking to, was that Erica?
Yes.
Okay. You told them that she turned her back to you. Is that correct? Does that signify that she doesn't want to talk to you at that point?
I think it was, my impression was it was to get out of the way of the door so they could close it.
Okay.
At least in part.
Okay. Now, and you told them that when she turned her back to you, you still wanted to tell them that they were being too loud.
Yeah, I wanted to finish my statement, and the noise created by the four people in the apartment yelling at the same time made it difficult for her to hear.
So Erica was past her door, letting it close by this point?
She was still in front of him. Yeah, she turned and was, going to get out from in front of it.
Earlier on your direct examination, when you were asked if you had touched Erica's door, you shrugged your shoulders. Do you recall doing that? Okay. Do you recall for sure whether or not you touched her door? We don't want you to guess.
Her door may have touched me, as far as sticking my foot in the door, that did not happen.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Sir, just so that I'm clear, your intent on going down was to tell them that they were being too loud.
Right, that I, stood a realistic chance of actually getting some sleep for the first time in a couple of days.
And the prior occasion,
what was your intent on approaching them at the truck?
Well, that was much later. That was, she said 11. I just said after 10. And that's the generally accepted definition of quiet time. My understanding is between 10 at night and 8 in the morning. So,
Okay, well, so my question was, when you went down to the truck on the prior occasion, what was your intent? Just to tell them that it was too
yeah,
late?
tell them it's after 10.
Okay. It's been indicated that you said that in questioning from the officers that you may have inadvertently stepped into the apartment.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
Okay. When you left your apartment and were going down the hallway, did you have any intention on going into her apartment?
No.
You get to the door, and at some point while you're at the door, you don't know whether or not you crossed the threshold.
No.
Is that correct?
I was trying to stay close to her ear because there was a lot of ambient noise that I had to talk around.
Okay. So she's at the doorway, right? At the time that you get to the doorway.
Yes.
How far from, if you recall, from the threshold was she while you're at the door?
She was like at the handle end of the door with the door like fully open, and she was holding onto the door.
So when you approached the door was fully open.
Yes.
And so you're standing there talking. All right. When you say she's at the handle end of the door, was her body to what would become the outside of the door or the inside of the door? If you know what I mean by that.
Kind of, well, she was at the end, with her front like bent around on the side and her, back foot maybe behind the door.
Okay, so, and by your description and by what you were doing, what I took from that is her body is actually behind the door.
Part of it.
Part of her body is behind the door. Is the door closing at that point?
No.
Or she's just behind part of her is behind the door, and is her face facing out?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, you're talking to.
Yes.
To your understanding, at that point that you're saying anything, is she trying to close the door?
No, I didn't get the impression anyone was trying to do anything other than make a lot of noise and scare me away.
Okay, when you say that, was somebody saying something to you?
Oh, they were all yelling, get out, go away, but whatever.
Okay. At some point you leave and the door closed and you walk back to your apartment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So would it be correct in saying that once you arrived at the door, it was anything but quiet necessarily?
Well, as soon as I opened my mouth to say you're making too much noise, and everyone lit up immediately, almost immediately.
Got it. Okay. All right. Any questions based on the court question?
I don't have nothing further, Your Honor.
I do have one other question.
previous occasion, did you report that to management?
I don't believe I did. No.
Okay. This occasion, did you report it to management?
I did not, because by the time the next day rolled around and management was in a position to receive the message, things had kind of snowballed. So we were on a different path at that point.
Gotcha. Sir, if you thought there was too much noise, is there a reason why you didn't call the police?
Well, two reasons. I moved to this apartment complex from Evergreen, which is also in Pittsfield Township, and I called them with noise complaints a couple of times. And they told me not our problem, that should be taken up with management. And also the management sent out a group email that said, you know, don't call the police about noise complaints, take it to management.
Got it. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Any questions?
Nothing. No.
All right. You may step down. Thank you, sir. Any additional witnesses for the defense?
Your Honor, the defense rests.
All right. Any rebuttal witnesses for the people?
Just recall Officer Rakowski very quickly.
All right. Sir, please come up. I remind you that you're still under oath.
Sure.
Thank you. Were you there when officers were talking with the defendant?
Yes, Officer Dana and I went to speak with them.
Okay. And do you recall when the defendant was asked how far he made it into the apartment?
He stated that he inadvertently had stepped into the apartment.
Okay. Did he say how far or how much?
Not that I recall, but it was, I don't recall, it's something to do with the woman foot. He inadvertently stepped his foot into the apartment.
Okay. And did you recall if he made any gestures to demonstrate what he did?
No.
Okay. Were you wearing any body camera that day?
Yes.
If I show you that body camera, would that help to refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yeah. Do you know what he's going to show?
Oh, sorry. It's his body camera.
Yeah, no, we've seen all the body camera footage.
All right. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. Did seeing that help to refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. And did the defendant make any gestures demonstrating what he did with his foot?
He did make a stepping motion, stepping.
Okay.
Doorway.
Okay, like across the threshold. All right, thank you. That's all.
Was that in proximity when he said he may have inadvertently stepped in?
Yes, that was during when we were talking about that.
All right.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. You may step down. Thank you, sir. Any additional witnesses for the people?
No.
Closing argument.
Your Honor, I believe that we've established beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant did enter without breaking apartment 313 at the apartment complex
What
4800.
would be the requisite intent that people would need to show regarding this offense?
Judge, I think it's not a specific intent crime. I think it's more
I understand
generalizing
it's not
crime.
a specific intent crime, but
A generalized intent to do the act, and the fact that he admitted to completing the act and Erica testified.
general intent to do what act?
To cross the threshold. If I may, Judge, the jury instruction in a home invasion case, which is very similar to this, the jury instruction for entering without permission, there's case law that says any entrance, however slight, is sufficient.
I understand
So I think
that's not what I'm asking.
Okay. So I believe, and I would suggest to you that the intent to cross the threshold, which in this case allowed the defendant to get his statement in, to get his admonition of the Hogans into them because he wanted to
But if
tell
it's an
them.
inadvertent, you would agree that that would not be the requisite intent necessary, general or otherwise.
If it's an accident, that is, I would say that's likely a defense. And I
Well,
think
then give me your definition of inadvertent.
I think inadvertent and accident are probably co-equal in this situation.
Okay.
However, the fact that the door didn't close and we saw that how the door would close if no one's in the way tells us that there was an intent to prevent the door from being closed, which means he meant to cross the threshold. And then, as Erica described, he put his arm sort of around the door because he wanted to tell them what he wanted to tell them, which was, I'm upset with you. Effectively, I'm mad at you. I'm upset with you and you're making too much noise. Knock it off.
Or I went to sleep.
Yep. So that's the argument, Judge.
All right, thank you. Closing.
Keep this very brief, Your Honor. First, the defendant believes that the court identified the key issue here, which is the intent. This would be a general intent to cross the threshold. I believe his testimony is that if he did enter the apartment, it was inadvertent. He did not have the intent required to cross the threshold. I also think that the two parties are telling very different stories about the same event, and that often happens in cases like this. But I would point out some of the inconsistencies in Ms. Hogan's recitation. She first said that the defendant kind of wrestled past her and entered her apartment. And then she said that when the door was almost completely closed, he stuck his foot in. It just, as she was reciting it, none of that made sense when you saw the video of how the door closes, that he could push past her and somehow, have her come around him and everything. I mean, that recitation is a much larger, almost altercation. We believe what the evidence shows is that, the defendant had encountered Ms. Hogan previously. They had been moving in, well after 10 o'clock, as late as 11 o'clock, and continuing on after 11 o'clock at night. He had a very real concern that they were going to do the same thing on the night of the 14th. He went down expecting nothing more than he had previously had with them on the prior occasion. There was no intent to do anything. He wasn't in a condition to have the kind of combativeness that Ms. Hogan described. And so the defendant would ask that the court find him not guilty.
Anything else?
I think you can see the defendant's intent when he admitted that she turned her back to him, yet he wanted to make sure that they effectively got a piece of his mind. He crossed the threshold of someone else's apartment. He wouldn't leave when they clearly said, go away. I think that's why I'm found guilty.
All right, let's stand in brief recess. I'll come back to my decision.
All right. 14A District Court for County of Washington State of Michigan is now back in session. The Honorable Judge.
You may be seated. We're back on the record in the case of the People versus He. In this case, there are renditions of what occurred that day. A couple of things are of note to the court regarding what actually leads up to the purported illegal entry. And that is that this court observed as Mr. Heed was coming up to the podium, and granted, he may have been walking different than he would have back in June, but the court finds it hard to believe that he got himself into the hallway and then passed 4 individuals in that hallway to get to that door. and the court having a very difficult time believing that occurred. I believe what Ms. Hogan says is that all four of them were coming in at the same time with the last load. That makes sense. But that part of the scenario also doesn't fit with what is agreed, at least between Mr. Hogan or Ms. Hogan and Mr. Heed, that the other three individuals were in the apartment at the time. So trying to reconcile some of the factual development, that is the conclusion that the court came to. The issue really is, and it is a general intent crime, is what was Mr. Heed attempting to do? Mr. Heed was attempting, right or wrongly, to let him know that he needed to sleep. I'm not sure that that is entirely Ms. Hogan's responsibility. The notion of when she moves, when she doesn't move, that is in a lot of ways irrelevant for the court for these purposes, because it's not a noise complaint charge. That's not what this is. When one gets to the issue of illegal entry and when one examines some of the case law regarding illegal entry, what is clear, and I think conceded by the people, is that an inadvertent or accidental entry would not constitute a crime. There would have to be some indication that the defendant's intent was to indeed enter those premises. If his intent was to make known his displeasure, that still doesn't mean that he illegally entered. The only evidence that's really before the court is that his entry into the premises may have been a step into the premises or his foot on the door. And in certain instances, that can constitute an illegal entry. In this case, however, I believe what the defendant is saying in testifying, and that is when he told the officers that he inadvertently stepped in. Inadvertently doesn't cut it for the purposes of intent to enter the premises. Quite frankly, both parties probably could have found a better way to handle this entire situation and not bring it forth this way, but it's here. It is the people's burden to show beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant illegally entered the premises. He has to have the intent to enter the premises. It can't just be something where it is inadvertent or accidental or something along those lines. The proofs in this case, and from this court's viewing of the proofs and listening very closely to the witnesses, I can't get beyond that any entry from this gentleman who was barefoot at the time into that apartment or on that threshold was anything but inadvertent. I think his intent was to say what he wanted to say about the noise. That was it. He wasn't intending to go into that apartment. He wasn't intending to step into it. Had the door remained open and he could have just said it that way, I think that's exactly what he would have done. So for those reasons, and it being the people's burden to show beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed this offense, the court will find that the people have not sustained their burden in that respect and would find that the defendant is not guilty of this charge.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
You have got to be kidding me. What is going on today? This is a joke. This is a joke. Today is an absolute joke. We need an interpreter.
I need an interpreter when I cannot express myself.
Oh my God, sir, put that cigarette out. I don't give a crap that you are outside of this. What is wrong with everybody today? You know what, Mr. Reed, we're going to start bringing people in person. People going to learn how to act in a courtroom.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am? Can you hear it?
No.
Okay.
I have no patience for that. I'm trying to get out of the day. I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs the drink.